Hey, what's up guys, it's the Catalyst47 here, finally back with another video. Actually, y'all gonna see both these videos pretty close together, so it might not seem like a long time. I'm gonna post one video first, kind of doing my, I'm probably not gonna put them in order. I'm probably gonna put this one first because I want to start off with the deck profile, honestly. So it's, okay, this is gonna seem weird then, now that I think about it. the other video from, it's gonna make it sound like I haven't posted in a long time because I recorded that one first. We'll see what I do. Maybe I'll still put the other one, but I'll probably put them both together if I upload them on the same day. Yeah, maybe we'll do that because I want to make the comeback video, and then I also want to do like a deck profile right away, you know. So definitely want to do an updated Burning Abyss deck profile, since this is, you know, my channel's kind of more known for the Burning Abyss kind of thing. So yeah, definitely want to update the deck. I know a couple months ago, I think like 3 months ago, I got like some questions on some videos like, you know, when are we gonna update the deck profile? And I explained it in the other video. So, you know, I've been busy with moving to a house, getting ready for a wedding, work, and things like that. So I just haven't had too much time on my hands to focus that much on Yu-Gi-Oh! We've had 2 ban lists since the last time I posted. 2 or 3? No, 3. I mean, 3 ban lists. Yeah, 3 ban lists. Since the last time I made a video. I mean, the first one was, you know, tier. Not really. They nerfed tier, which is good, but the format was still very cash tier focus, and you know, guys, BA into cash tier is just horrible. But now on this updated ban list, finally we got one. I think like what, 2 or 3 days ago. Cash tier is now basically not dead, but basically almost dead with a Rise Card being banned. They nerfed dragons, my deck, you know, one of my other decks that I like to play. But I mean, the deck is very strong. I think if they didn't nerf dragons was gonna be the best. Like Dragon Lane was gonna be the best deck, no doubt. Along with like Pearly, and yeah, that's about it. I mean, Unchained's good too. But anyways, I wanted to focus this deck profile on Burning Abyss, since, like I said, this is the deck that I like to play for this, you know, play the most basically. I know it's not a good deck, but it's still fun to me. Like, it's still a fun deck. I like the lore and everything. So, and as y'all saw in my previous video, I guess I'm gonna just upload them on the same day. As you saw in my previous video, I did get that Amanda LaPalme Inferno deck collection box stuff with. So basically, I can use the deck box. You guys can see it again. But yeah, I wanted to make this build focused. I was debating, like, should I do a trap build, like, you know, which is more, it's more leaning towards going first, of course, or should I do like a going second build? Like, I've seen a couple of builds for going second, like, you know, a lot of board breakers, and obviously like Zeus Turbo kind of thing, since, I mean, Zeus is a very powerful card. But, you know, I was like, okay, people have already posted those kind of deck profiles, like, I mean, and then Trap, it's weird. Like, the Trap Burning Abyss build, I think it's obviously helps you, like, if you're able to set, if you can set up your normal board, which is like, you know, IP, Beatrice, and then if you have some traps behind it, it's actually pretty strong. But the thing is, like, I would say that only happens like maybe like a third of your hands that you'll probably be able to set that up. Like, most of the time, sometimes you'll open up like too many BAs, even though you only play like 13 or 14 in that build, like level 3s. So it's like sometimes you still open, or actually more like you play like 16, because it's like 13 BAs and then like 2 rhinos, a tour guide, and, you know, a backjack. But basically, it just kind of sucks that you might open up like all traps, which it's not bad, but obviously the deck is meant to be, you know, like, all traps doesn't really, yes, it can stop your opponent, but that doesn't kill your opponent in this deck. And then if you open up too much monsters, I feel like just Beatrice Pass is not good enough. Like, if you open up too many BAs, you know, yeah, Beatrice IP is just not good enough. Definitely you need, so I decided to focus this build. I haven't seen this build anywhere on I mean, I haven't looked like every YouTube video possible, but any recent videos like for Burning Abyss, and there haven't been too many, honest, just because the deck is not that great. But this build is more focused on a combination of both, like going first and going second. I feel like I can do both okay. Um, but obviously that makes it like if that makes it obviously it's not as strong as the going second Burning Abyss build, like just pure going second. It's not as strong as that, and it's not as strong as a pure going first build. It's kind of like in the middle, but I still think it's a pretty solid deck, and it's I like the consistency, the ratios I chose and everything. I think it works very well. I feel like I have more. Like it happens more often. Maybe like 60-ish% of my hands where I have, like, where I'm actually able to get the board kind of like what I want, like more than 50% of the time. So I'll show you guys a couple test hands as well with the deck profile, and that way you can see like how often I get certain, like, certain combos and things like that. So anyways, guys, without further ado, let's just get right into the deck profile. Alright guys, so here is the deck box once again. I have the deck in here now. Man, it's pretty strong actually, but I really like this picture. It just looks so cool. Anyways, I'm gonna pull out the deck here. The extra deck here is the main. I'm debating on showing you guys the side. I guess I can, just to show you what. It's still a work in progress. The side is very iffy, like depending on what I see after I've tested the deck a little more. But anyway, started with the Burning Abyss monsters, of course. Triple Graph, obviously the best one. Triple Seer, and well, actually, I guess all the three of us. Triple Scarm, and Triple Farfa. So these are like the most important BAs, of course. Graph specials from deck, Seer from grave, Scarm searches on the end phase, and Farfa banish. Target any monster on board and banish it till the end phase. And I definitely think all of these, I think, are necessary at 3 because we are playing Desires, so you really don't want to banish like all your copies of any one of these. So definitely think 3 is a must. So that is, okay, so that's 12 so far. And the rest of the non-3s, basically. 2 Libic, 1 Alec, and 1 Barbar. These are more like utility, and Libic helps with OTK, so that's why I'm playing 2, because if you banish the 1, it's like, it kind of hurts your chances of actually trying to go for OTK. Alich is another decent interruption. You can use a dump with Beatrice, like chain on like Branded Fusion or something, and then they summon Lobelion, or I forgot what that card is called, but they summon the fusion, and then on a new chain, the fusion will be 1, Alec will be 2 to negate it. Pretty good interactions. And then Barbar, of course, for time and just extra damage if you need it. Sometimes it does help with OTKing as well. And now for the non-BAs, but that are still basically BAs. 3 Rhino Warrior and 1 Tour Guide. I thought about playing 2 Tour Guide, but just because of Desires. But you really don't want to open up like too many level 3s and not enough of the other cards that I'm playing. Rhino Warrior at 3 I think is good, just because Rhino Warrior is basically another copy of Graph, so it just optimizes your chances of actually, being able to play. And Rhino Warrior, of course, it lets you play even if you control non-BA monsters. You can still summon your BAs if Rhino Warrior is on the board. And then Tour Guide, of course, just 1 of, because you really just want to search for Scarm for turn 3. So I think 1 is just fine. It's Hand Trap Magnet. Now, like I said, this is a mixture of a going first and second deck, so we are playing a couple hand traps. Just 3 Ash, 3 Imperm. That's it for the hand traps. I think these are like some of the best ones. Nibiru, of course, is also up there along with these cards, but Nibiru doesn't work too well in BA just because it's not a BA monster. So I feel like you just can't play Nibiru in this deck, even though I would like to. But these are the next best ones. Of course, Ash hits basically every deck. Every deck has something that Ash can negate, and it's really good against Branded, so definitely want to respect that deck. And then Impermanence, of course, is just a solid card. It's good going first or second, so it's a good 6 card as well. So that's really good. Definitely want to maximize those. And then now for the, I guess, kind of like the board breaker part of the deck. We're playing 3 kaijus. I don't have 3 gamma seals. I would play 3 gamma seals if I had them. But so I'm just right now playing the wind one and one of the gamma seals since I only have one. But yeah, 3 gamma seal I would do if I had them, just because it's lower attack. So you want to be able to run over it with like Dante or Beatrice, and I feel like the kaijus are necessary because there's a lot of decks that BA just can't, or a lot of monsters that BA just can't do anything about. Like basically things like Borderland or like Adignisted Boss Monster or the Pearly Noir. So you really need to main deck something for. There's too many decks that have monsters that you can't out in this deck very easily. So I definitely think that Gamma Seals or like Kaijus are necessary in this particular deck. Then we are playing 3 Droplet, 2 Talents, and 2 Book of Moon. So of course Droplet. I mean, Droplet and BA is pretty decent. It's just discarding your BAs to trigger their effects. Doesn't matter if it's for cost. So that's really good, and it helps. Obviously, the halving the attack of the monsters also makes it easier for your monsters to run over them, so you can just Zeus. And then triple Taxes Talents. I wasn't sure if I should run this card or not. I'm mostly just testing this. Honestly, this could be replacing it for like Book of Eclipse. I feel like BA cannot really utilize tactics to its full potential, because if you get hand trapped, let's say you get hand trapped on Tour Guide, doesn't matter if you draw 2, like you can't, even if they're BAs, you can't do anything because Tour Guide's on the board. Or let's say your opponent, like you want to take one of their monsters. If you take one of their monsters, the only way it's beneficial is if like you take an XYZ, you go into Zeus, But if you take a monster that's not an XYZ, then you can't summon your BAs, like. So, and then the hand knowledge, that one's good, but yeah. So I'm still debating. I'm just gonna test it out, see how it does. But this could be like Book of Eclipse or something, or I mean maybe not Dark Ruler, since I don't really want to play Droplet and Dark Ruler. But those are some other options. Maybe more hand traps. It could be like main deck DD Crow or something. And then Book of Moon, of course, is just a good card. In the format right now, just booking, like, honestly, it's good going first or second, because you can just set it going first and you still have another interruption. Going second, of course, also amazing. Just book like any card that could be problematic, and since it puts them in defense, it also makes it easier for you to hit it with Dante or hit it with an XYZ and then just go into Zeus. So basically, really, the triple taxes is the only iffy card so far. But of course, you guys can play whatever you guys feel works better for y'all. The only reason I didn't want to play Book of Eclipse is because Book of Eclipse, it is a good card, but I feel like going first, it doesn't do much. Like, you can set it and obviously booking your opponent's whole board, but they can just flip it back up, so it's kind of pointless. The last utility cards is just... Wait. Hold on, guys. I am missing one card. Did I leave it in the back box? I did. Okay. So we got 2 Desires, 1 Foolish Burial, and Called by the Grave. So Desires, of course, you need draw power. That's another reason why I did kind of want to lean towards playing Talon. So like I mained it because this deck has draw power issues, and I feel like you need ways to see more cards in order to make this deck more viable. So for Desires, it's definitely a must. Foolish is basically like another BA, so it can force other interruptions. It's good going first or second. Helps you start plays or helps you interrupt. You can send Farfa, you can send Alec, things like that to interrupt your opponent. And then Called by, of course, just stops hand traps, and it's good going second as well, or first and second. So that's it for the main 40 cards. Now going into the extra deck, I am playing 1 Beatrice and 2 Dante, of course. Very, very standard. In a Burning Abyss deck. Now for the Zeus packages, we got the DDD package, Downard, and Double Zeus. So yeah, I mean these make you help you make a big monster, and then you can run over basically almost anything, and then go into a 4 material Zeus. Down it also helps you make a 4 material Zeus with like Dante. So I think these are all pretty standard, honestly, in Burning Abyss builds right now. Now, because this is not like a pure going second or first build, but I actually think that's good because a pure going second build hard loses to like dimensional barrier, because most going second builds for Burning Abyss are mostly XYZs, not really much links. So I definitely think having a mixture of both is more ideal. For the links, we got Access Code Talker, Unicorn, IP, and I guess I'll put. Actually, I'll probably just put all of them here. Dark, Cherubini, Gravity Controller, and Purple Dante. So, I mean, this is not a link, but obviously access code for OTKs, Unicorn for like your IP to climb into there, and of course it also helps you climb into access code. Dark, because it helps you get more body, like it helps you get follow-up because it searches darks, and then also it just helps you get more bodies on board by taking one of your opponent's monsters. You have a lot of darks in the deck. Most of the main deck is dark, so it's easy to go into this card. Cherubini, of course, it's a Burning Abyss deck, helps OTK, or go into Zeus or things like that. Gravity Controller in case you don't draw a way to graph. So if you only have Seer, you can still go into Beatrice, and then Purple Dante. Since Unchained is mostly destruction, then I think this could be a pretty good card to have right now in the main for the extra deck. Though I am considering this final card right here. I don't know, like it's kind of a flex spot. I'm not entirely sure if what's like the right call to main in the extra deck. This could be like I've thought about making the Purple Dante, since like it's kind of hard. If your opponent knows anything about BA, they're not gonna destroy your Beatrice, So I've thought about making this like a Boral Sword, just to have another option for OTK along with access code. Or this could be like a Fortune Tune, since it gives you a little more options for rank 3s. Like Fortune Tune can't be targeted, and it basically helps you make a Zeus if you don't have a way to beat over certain monsters. And then, or this could be like an Avermax, if you want a different boss monster. But I think this deck definitely needs ways to OTK. So I think Boral Sword is probably the best option. At least in testing, I feel like Boral Sword is the one that comes up a little bit more than the other ones. But yeah, that's basically it for the extra deck. And now on to the side deck. This is the side that I'm going with right now. We got Triple Drool. Of course, that's good against like Dragon Link, against I think it's kind of decent against some branded stuff, or decent into like, honestly it's decent into a good amount of decks. So I think, what is it, the Vanadium deck as well. And then we got, for basically removal, we got 3 evenly matched, and then 2 Lightning Storm and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. So these cards are, just good for outing boards and outing back row too, basically. So definitely need some stuff to out back row. That's why I included these. And now for the going first cards, we got, of course, everyone's favorite card right now, Dimensional Barrier. And the one card that I'm playing that I don't think many decks are playing, but I think this card could be pretty decent for going first, is Different Dimension Ground. Basically banishing every monster for that turn. So I think this card, D-Barrier is obvious. Like, you can just lock out an opponent from a whole summoning mechanic. And then Different Dimension Ground, I think could be pretty decent, since Arise Heart is no longer in the meta, right? And that was keeping a lot of decks in check. So now, like, Tier Limits is getting better. Dragon Link is better because Kashiro's gone, but they did get nerfed a little bit. But Different Dimension Ground, basically, the thing, you could play Shifter in this deck, but the thing about Shifter is that since it banishes on 2 turns, that really does hurt BA2, because yeah, you could just make Zeus, but But basically, your BAs don't ever get their effect. So if you're forced to Zeus, it's like, yeah, you have Zeus and you wipe the board, but you have like no follow up whatsoever. So I don't think Shifter is like the best card to play in here, even though you could. But this card, Different Dimension Ground, it's pretty good going first. And you can set up your board, set this, and then on your opponent's turn, everything will get banished for that turn. So your opponent can't combo. And even if they have a way to break your board, like let's say they have evenly matched, well then they go into battle phase. They activate evenly. You can chain this, and then you get, so basically you still get the use out of this card, and you can leave something else that could be another interruption on your opponent's turn during May phase 2. So I think it could be a pretty good option to use. But yeah, guys, that's basically it for the Burning Abyss deck profile, and let me go get started on the test hands. Alright guys, so let's get into shuffling real quick so you guys can see the power shuffle. Okay, so we got it all shuffled. I just wanted to show you guys. Let's just do this. Now we of course get a couple of real shuffles in there. These are kind of like newish sleeves. Well, I mean, they're new. They're not new, sorry, but they were double sleeved, so they still feel like new because the outer sleeve protected them. So it's like they're a little bit like slippery and things. So, you know, a couple cuts. Okay, and let's cut this, and now we're good. So we got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this hand, of course, is very playable going first. Going second, it does suck a little bit that we only drew Book of Moon. It's the only one, but let's see what our 6th card is. No, another BA. Okay. But obviously, like I said, with this deck, I would be inclined to go first if I win the die roll. Just because we have good amount of hand traps, good amount of... Our board breakers are also like pretty decent into like going second because you can just set them. Like Book of Moon, Droplet. So I definitely would be more inclined to go first. So of course, we have our standard play here. If you don't want to play into, like this hand, you don't have to play into Nib. You can normal summon this. Special the Farfa. Yeah. Go into Dante. And like I said, if you don't want to play into Nib, then you just discard Scarm. Go into Beatrice. Set the Book of Moon, end phase, Scarm, search. But if you want to like, if it's game, I mean, I think Nib is kind of being played, so that would be the safer route. But if you didn't have like Scarm as another BA, I guess, then I would, or if you wanted to, if you just wanted to play into it, whatever, then because you want more interruptions, then you can do this. Dante, detach, mill 3, 1, 2, 3. Graph effect. Summon out Seer. And then, of course, you know, you go into your IP. Just typical Burning Abyss plays. Seer 1, target Dante, Dante 2, target Seer. And here I would actually discard the Scarm. So, you know, we go into Beatrice. Okay, only one Farfa got milled, so that's fine. And then we would set the Book of Moon. And, you know, end phase, we search Tour Guide. Yep, end phase, search Tour Guide, and that's basically it. You know, like this is like pretty typical combo. It sucks that we didn't draw like a hand trap like Imperm or Ash Blossom to complement this board. But I mean, we still have 3 interruptions, honestly. We still have... basically, Beatrice will send Farfa to banish a card, Book of Moon to book 1 card, and then or if we really wanted to, we could also, I mean, this is another option, but you would lose one of your interruptions basically. So, but it could, depending on what deck you're facing, it could still be fine. Like you could send Seer from the deck, bring on another body, and like bring Dante back, and then you can use the IP and Dante. So you get to keep Beatrice on board basically. You get another body on board, you get to keep it. But that's probably not gonna happen. You probably want to use the interruption. You know, you detach, send Farfa, Farfa banish, book a card, and then you could also just go into well, Dante would add back something, right? Dante, since we already have Seer in hand, we would probably just add back Graph. And then, you know, then you can use Unicorn to discard Seer, Seer, bring back Dante. And then you have a lot of follow-up. You have, like, this in hand. So you have that on board, and then you can just make access code plays. That's very typical. But basically, I mean, we had 3 interruptions there, which is, it's okay. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's still, you know, the going second build is like, it's just Zeus Turbo, so it's like, I mean, you can't even summon Zeus going first, so definitely, you know, this build does have, like, at least you have not just IP Beatrice, like, you know. So, you know, let's give it another good shuffles, couple shuffles here and there. Let's do test hand number 2. I'm going to try and go pretty quick on these because I don't want the video to be, like, super long. You know, give it a couple cuts here. Okay, do that and that. Okay, test hand number 2. Okay, not bad. We have a very playable hand here, going first or second. We have Ash to stop something, and then we have Droplet on the follow-up with our 6 card. Yeah, Droplet with this many BAs is actually, or level 3s is really good. Since even if you have to use Droplet to send one of these, you still have plenty of monsters to play with. But anyways, going first, of course, normal, special. If you get imprint that sucks. Like, you auto lose. But you really have to go this route if you want to set up the most optimal board. Actually, in this case, I would... No, never mind. So, you know, we go Dante, you know, detach, mill 3. I always mill 3. There's nothing on the deck that really could stop me. So basically here, when you mill like this, you could definitely chain block the Graph, since Graph is I think Graph is a pretty big choke point in the deck. So you could do, if you're gonna play into Nib, like, you know, I guess you could just play into it super hard. You could do Graph 1, Rhino 2, Libic 3, so Libic can summon out the Farfa here. And then Rhino would be, I was chain link 2, so we dump Skarm, and then Graph was chain link 1. So we can do summon out Seer. This is actually really good because now we have another body. We won't have to get rid of our Beatrice. So now we can just use these. And since Farfa was summoned with Libic's effect, its effects are negated, so it will stay on the board. So, you know, IP, Seer 1, Dante, or yeah, Seer 1, Dante 2. So, you know, we add back Seer, summon Dante, discard Seer, bring out Beatrice. And, oh wait, did we use Skarm at any point? Yeah, we did. We send it with Rhino Warrior. And then we could just set Droplet. And then, you know, end phase, search, tour guide. Well, since it is Droplet, you could search something else. Like, you could search, like, Alec or, you know, Graph. Actually, that might be better. Since it is Droplet, the better option might actually be to search a BA, since you really want to keep Beatrice on board, and then you really want to just use these. So it'd probably be better to search Graph, since you're gonna get Seer back from Dante when you use Beatrice's effect. So we could just probably Graph is the next best thing to search here. It's still a decent follow-up. So we end with what, 4 interruptions? So we have Ash 1, Droplet 2, IP 3, and it goes into Unicorn. And then Beatrice 4, you can just send Farfa to banish a card. Or, well, actually, you could send Alec or something because you already have the Farfa here. So once you link it off with IP, your Farfa is going to get the effect anyways. So, and then you have your discard card with this. And you're going to get Seer back as well. So there's plenty of things, plenty of options depending on what your opponent does. But you basically have 4 interruptions. 1, 2, 3. Actually, with this, you're gonna get a banish and a bounce. Like it's like a double interruption. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 interruptions that you have on board. So pretty decent. It sucks that it plays into Nib. I guess another option is you could like, if you wanted to main cross out, you could. It's just kind of sucks that it adds like you have to add in a few more. Like you have to add a Nibiru into the deck, so hurts consistency a little bit. And I don't think everyone's on Nib, so it's like, you know, you have to accept that the deck has its flaws. Like you can't really cover every single thing. So definitely think that there's just some things that you can't help, you know? And I think in order for this deck to function okay, like set up good boards, you have to play into Nib, you know? So basically, I was shuffling the hand there. I guess I'll show you guys a little more shuffling. Just don't want people to think I rigged anything, you know? Anyways, let's give it a cut. Another cut. Test hand number 3. Okay, not bad. Going first or second, pretty decent. The Kaiju doesn't do anything one first. But like I said, you really do want to have the Kaijus in the main just for like, you know, your opponent can, you know, set up monsters that you just can't out. But let's see, going second. Okay, we draw another BA. But that's still pretty good because this card is good going first or second. And then this card can out any monster like Neuer or basically any card that it could be problematic. Borrowland, Savage, like all really good to out. So yeah. But going first, of course, very typical line here. You know, normal graph, special Alec, and then you just go into your combo with IP Beatrice, and you would have called by set at the end of it. But basically, that's basically it. I mean, depending on, let's see, what would we mill with 3 cards? Nothing really good. It would be nice to be able to get the Scarm effect, but sometimes you cannot. But yeah, that was it's, I mean, obviously it's full combo when it comes to BA. It sucks that we only have, like, called by is not the most reliable interruption, but it can be an interruption too, so it really just be 3 interruptions, which, I mean, it's not great, but it's okay. But see, like, every hand we've ended at least with 3 interruptions, so I still think it's not terrible. And obviously BA, if, like, BA normally, when you're able to set up your board, BA has a good amount of follow-up. So test hand number 4. Oh, okay, I was like, damn, that's, drawing all BAs is just kind of bad. Going first, this hand works. Going second, not so much, unless, yeah, not really. Going second, this hand would be pretty bad, honestly, because I mean, most likely, most decks either play Ash Blossom or they set up some kind of Omni negate. So Desires is most likely going to get negated. So going second, like if your opponent's able to set up the board, it's not going to do much. I mean, it's still not terrible because if your opponent like stops, like, let's say you special these 2, you know, they can out both of these. You could still normal this, special this, and then you can still go into Zeus, you know? So there is things you can do, but it's not like, that wasn't the most ideal hand. That was it wasn't unplayable. It was definitely playable, but it was not a good hand, you know? Honestly, drawing more than like 3 level 3s it does kind of suck a little bit. Like you really do want to have like other interruptions. Like 2 or 3 like BAs or level 3s is what's ideal in your hand. And that's why we play, I think I played 20. So it's like, you know, you're guaranteed to draw at least 2 of them. So test hand, that was what, 3, 4? That was test hand number 4. So 1 really good hand, 2 I guess average hands, and then 1 not unplayable but suboptimal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh man. Okay, I'm just getting unlucky then, I guess. I mean, this obviously going first, it's fine. Like, but going second, this is bad. Like your opponent gets the free play, and then you are kind of screwed, you know. So I would say that was, again, not unplayable, because I mean you definitely can play. And that many monsters going second, I mean, it can still do stuff because you can bait out your opponent, like summon 2 of them, and then you can bait out your opponent, like, oh, you know, get rid of these 2 bodies and they can't make anything. But if you have more bodies, then but again, most decks nowadays, they don't just have 1 interruption. So even if they use up one of their interruptions for those 2 bodies, like they could most likely still have something else. Okay, that was test number 5. Number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not bad. Not bad. It's not horrible or not ideal because you don't have a way to get to graph besides this, but you don't really want to normal summon this. Going second. Actually, I mean, going second, this hand's actually pretty good. Because going second, well, you had the Ash Blossom, right? So you would most likely use Ash, and then for turn you would draw this. So now you can out any monster that's a problem, and you still have Droplet. Then you still have, like, you can summon these to special summon them. And if your opponent is able to out these or they have an interruption, then you can just normal summon Tour Guide. So they'd have to have like multiple interruptions in order to stop you. Like they'd have to have like at least 3 of them. So yeah, this hand's pretty good going second. Because like I said, Ash would negate something, so that would hindrance their board a little bit. And then even if they set up a board, you can out one of their monsters with this. And then, like I said, then you can just summon 2 BAs. Like I said, this would be ideal to be the Gamma Seal, because Dante can't run over this. Or like you don't really, if you don't have to, you don't really want to go into the DDD cards, because yes, it's nice that they beat up over something, but they don't follow any, like they don't allow for any follow up. They don't give you any follow up. So that's basically it for that. That was test hand number 6. Going first, you would have to pray that you mill like a Rhino Warrior or Graph, because you don't really want to summon Tour Guide. And the other 2, I mean, yeah, they make Dante, but if you don't mill anything good, then you kind of, all you have is a Dante. I mean, you could special summon both of them, go Dante, and if you don't mill anything, then you can use Tour Guide. That way, at least, I mean, you'll bait out an interruption if they're probably going to use it, but it's fine, I guess. Now, again, test number 7. 2, 3, 4, 5. Not bad. Not bad. This is a better going second hand. Yeah, pretty good, actually, for going second. Going first, still not bad. I mean, you can... This is an easy Beatrice set book pass. But ideally, you would want to, like I said, you really want to try and get Dante on board. So, you know, you could normal, special, Dante, mill 3, pray, and you know we get 1, and we get Graph 2. So you can send Scarm, and you can play basically set up your board, your IP Beatrice with Book of Moon, and then you have some follow up, and you have the Kaiju. But that's basically it for the test hands, guys. So we had like 2 mediocre hands, 2 average hands, and then like 2 like pretty good hands, or 3 decently good hands. So I think the deck is pretty consistent. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you did, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.